everyone, my name is Catherine and this is EleWebDev. EleWebDev is short for Elementor Website Development. This channel is dedicated to beginners and intermediates of the Elementor page builder for WordPress. Today is a Build It session and we're moving on with the previous project of converting a site from sections and columns into containers. So let's go take a look at where we left off. We had already done the header, we had done the hero section, and we had done the feature area here. And we know that because I'm going to try to use the same vocabulary, which is sections. They are sections, but they're not in true form, technical term sections. The section of the feature, which is right here, they are a darker teal, darker blue color. If I come down here to this other section, that is this background image, it is a lighter blue, which means it is technically a section and a column. As you can see from here, that is a column, and this is a section. The sections and the container tabs, don't look very much different than that of a container tab. But the color gives you the idea that the light blue is a section and the darker blue is a container. So what we'll do is, in our last session, we converted these to containers, and so we're just going to move on down this page and continue to work with more of these and convert them. So I'll just click on this section, technically speaking, and I'll hit convert. And this one has a darker blue color than that one. And this one really didn't have any content in it, so I'm just going to delete this section. If I come up here, it says delete container. The little flyout tells you one is a container and one is a section. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I will move on down to this next one. So we have a background image, we have an icon box in here, we've got a title, another 3 icon boxes. So I'm just going to convert this and hit convert. All right. And then I'm going to take a look at the structure and see how did it convert it. Okay. So we got some problems here. It doesn't look like it. Let's see. Let me look at this one. I think it's full width. Yes, it is full width. And so this one is not full width. Right here. It is boxed. And it's got a child container that holds the image. And then it's got a child container that holds these widgets. Okay. That is a widget inside of that container. Good. Just looking at it technically, that it's not building more containers in this convert process, more containers than it needs to. So that looks good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to go from boxed to full width. Wow, that worked real well. This somehow is filling the allotted space when we really don't want it to fill the allotted space. It's just it's looking a little reminiscent of our next section. So let's see how we can make sure that that stays in one place and doesn't fill the allotted space. So let's go in here and let's take a look at what's going on. Spacing, content, vertical alignment. Let's go center. Not what we want. Interesting, interesting. Let's go to advanced and let's go to, we're really not having, let's go to the container. Let's see if that's stretching, because I've seen how this anomaly happens in the past. We have a stretching going on, but it's not there. Let's go here to this container, the parent container. Nope, there's no stretching going on there. This may be a case for where we need to recreate this section, but I'm going to do a little more investigation in figuring out why this is filling this space. So we've got a margin of 80 on the left, padding top, left, right, and bottom. That's all looking good. Inline auto. I'm going to hit default. Doesn't change. Width, inline auto. It is not keeping that. Align to cell, flex start. There it is. That's where it was. I had to force the flex start to align to self, because if I turn it off, interesting. It seems to have a default value of stretch. And I didn't want it to stretch. So and this is just, hey, on the fly, flex start, I turned that on and it seemed to take that. Not going to ask any questions. It is now working the way I want it to. We're moving on. So all I can say is, in the case of where it stretches, you might want to check the align self and force it to not stretch. So everything else looks great. It is looking identical. We only needed to fix that one thing. So I'm going to just roll ahead and delete this section. And it is now a container. I'm going to update the page just because we should. It's an important thing to do. And let's move on. We have a counter and it is a section. So I'm going to click on it and edit the section, and I'm going to go to convert. It's a very simple thing, but did you notice what happened? We now have spaces in between each of the containers. Now, here's a case where we don't need containers containing a widget, because that's just extra code. All we need is one container, the parent container, to hold 4 counter widgets. We don't need to put them in containers. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to delete it, but I'm going to pull this out, see if I can get it outside of the container. Yeah. And I'm going to delete this container. And this may or may not work, but let me go back to this counter. And let's go to advanced and width. And since we have 4, I'm going to customize that width, and I'm going to say 25%. Okay, so what I have to do is, I'm going to duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Oops, didn't get it. Duplicate. So I've got 4 of them. You can't see them. They got white text. That's okay. So what I'm going to come over here is, I'm going to delete these containers that hold these other, because we've got extra added containers we don't need. We just need to edit the counter, go to the style. Let's see, let's go to advanced. Let's go to background, background type, color, choose our sunshine orange. Hey, we got what we wanted. So I'm going to right click And I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste that. Paste style, but we still have those spaces, and that is a default. Because every container that is created, it has a default gap between each item. Right here, elements gap. It has an elements gap between each widget. I'm going to delete that. And when you delete it, it gets bigger. It defaults back to the default, which is 20. So then we have to force a 0, and there it gets to where we need it. So I'm just going to go to this column because I need to know how much padding was in that column. So we had 30. So I'm going to go right-clicking on our counter in our new container section, and I'm going to go to padding, and I'm going to put in 30. Okay, and then I'm going to right-click, copy, and paste this style on the rest of the containers, and we have exactly what we need. We unencumbered ourselves with the extra added containers that were wrapping around each one of our counter widgets. So we got exactly what we need with less code. So I'm going to delete that selection, and I'm going to update the page. All right. We're just moving along here. Current projects. Now, we're going to have an interesting set of circumstances here. Let's see. Let's go to this navigator here so that we know what we're working with. So what is this container? I'm just going to take a sidebar here, and I'm just going to say image here. Homage. Goodness gracious, can't spell. But that is the story of my life. Image. Okay, we're going to enter that. And then we've got another container here. What's this? This is, okay, the building structures. Okay, so you need to give it a name so you can identify it on the page. So founded is what I'm going to call that. All right, and then we've got this container, which is the counters. We've got to name our things so we can know where we are on the page. And we're going to come down here to this section. All right, we need some space between here and there. So I'm going to go back to this section and edit the counter. And let's see, edit the counter, advanced. So we don't know how much is there, so we're going to go back up here to this container. We have 60 on the bottom. So we're going to put 60 on the bottom of this container as well. We want to keep our margins and paddings equal. And so we'll go on to this new section here and we'll convert it. And we've got another one there. And wow, we have a great big huge difference. So what we want to do is, let's see, I created a column, and in that column I had a background image, and I had text in a, what is this? An icon box where I turned off the icon. So I would say, do we need, yeah, we probably need the container to contain the image and to hold the title in it as well. But what we do need to do is make sure that this parent container is not boxed but full width. There we go. We got what we need. Now what we're going to run into is problems on mobile and tablet because we have alignment to fit to the left over here with this one, and then over here it's over to the right. Let me get it above my head so you can see that. It's over to the right. So this was built designated for the desktop. So we are going to have alignment issues on tablet. So since we haven't checked our other sections for tablet and mobile, let's go back up and take a look at what that looks like. Let's check our tablet mode. Okay, whoa. Tablet mode looks good, although we've got some overlapping here. So 80 pixels may be too much on the left in, so they're grayed out, just to let you know. It's a trickle down effect from desktop, and now we're on tablet. It's telling you what it was in desktop. So if 80 is too much, I'm going to go just a little bit and I'm going to put 75. And I really didn't need that on every single one of them, so I'm going to put 0, 0, and 0. Okay, and we're good. I wish we could, hopefully, in this icon box, in the content of it, somehow align the icon position to be centered to the text. Is there a way to do that? Yes, we'll put it to the middle. That works. That works good. That works for me. I know I shouldn't need to wrap 2000, but we're going to, and I'm just going to hit update. All right. So that looks good. And we'll move down, and our counters look good in tablet mode. So I'm going to go back up and hit mobile. All right. Founded in 2002. Building in a, okay, so we're going to have to center some things. That is centered, not necessarily. So I'm going to right click, edit icon box. And we're going to go to the content. Actually, we're going to go to advanced. And we're going to put 0. It's going to go there, but we don't want it aligned to self there. We want it in the center. That looks good to me. And I'm going to right click and edit the heading and center the text there. Everything's kind of squashed, and we could turn some things off and not show it in the mobile, but we're just going to keep going with this. And that's good. Our counters, our counters are kind of squished. So maybe we need to make them 50%. So I'm going to right click, edit the counter. I'm going to go to the width and make it 50. Okay. That was the first one. Yep, 50. Pixels? No, percent. Okay. And then I'm going to copy this and we'll paste it on the next one. And then I'm going to paste it on this one. Oh, you know what happened? I got too many. I didn't paste the style, I actually pasted it. So let's paste the style and paste the style. Okay, so we're not getting what we need here, even though we've said we want edit the container. Excuse me, not the container, the counter. We've got 30 padding, but somehow it didn't get our 50%. There we go. Somehow it didn't get that, so now I'll paste it. There we go. Don't know what was going on, but we just keep trying until we get what we want. Paste style. Okay, that works great. So I'm going to hit update. And our recent projects. Okay, so this is the recent projects converted. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll come up here and we'll delete this one. And we'll delete this one if I can get to it. Oh, wonderful. We have to, okay, that is counters. Yep. Let's close the counter. This is a section with a column and a heading, and that's what I want to get rid of. So I'm going to hit delete. And then this is Counters. I see, I'm looking at counters and containers. They look the same. This is projects. So I'm going to rename that projects. And so let's go to tablet and see what this looks like. Okay. So we could go 50-50 with these, or we could keep them 25%. I think I'm going to keep it that way, but we definitely need to work with mobile. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, see they're overlapping a little bit. So if I go to this container, full width, okay, and what if we right click, edit the container, go to advanced, and margin on, we don't need a margin on the right, so we're just going to zero that out. And we want a margin on the bottom of 20, but not all of them. Loving those locked values. Okay, so I'm just going to go 30. Okay, just a little bit more visual space. Okay. And we need to fix this because we actually want it to go all the way across. And I think it has, yep, on the right, padding on the icon box. Margin on the bottom. Okay. That's to make it look like it's overlapping. Okay. And okay, that's the padding of, yep, I messed that up. So if I delete that, it goes back to the way it was. But it looks like we have margin. Margin inside this container. Correct. On the right. That would be correct. Let's force it 0. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click, edit container, but actually I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste style. And it did what I didn't want it to do, so I'm going to hit Command-Z to undo that. The whole style included the image, so we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to have to manually override this and make sure that there is nothing there. Okay. And that looks good. Let me make sure. Oh, left on the 5. I knew there was something that didn't look even. There we go. And then we want to, edit container. We want margin on the bottom unlocked and make 30. Okay. All right. So we will right click, edit the container. We will go to advanced. Margin on the left and right, we don't need 5. We're going to 0 it out. And the padding, we don't want that. We want to 0 that out. But we do want to unlock and bottom of, 30. Good. And we'll do the same here. Sometimes you can't copy and paste because you end up making more problems for yourself. There we go. That we're going to hit update, and that looks great. Our projects. And I don't know what this is supposed to be, so we'll go back out to desktop mode. Okay, recent projects, looking good. Okay, build your future today. So we have 2 images. Okay, before I convert it, here's what I'm going to do. Notice how, let me just see if that is, let me just look at it in the final rendered version. Because what I'm looking at right here, let me go back. I've got this padding inside of this column that I want to know if it is actually rendered to the final version. It is not, because I'm looking at that. Okay. So what I'm going to do with this, because it looks like one image, but it's actually two, I'm going to add space in between these two images. Okay. All right, so that's a column, that's a column. All right, so what I'm going to do, and I know what's going to happen, it's going to put an image in a column, excuse me, a container, container, container. And what I want to do is have two containers, 50-50, and then force the image inside to be 25-25 in one container. So I'm going to convert this one, convert, and it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this container, and I'll just have to pull the image. And is it a background image? That's the next question. Because if it is a background image, oops, sorry, layout, style. Yes, it is a background image. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to force the width of this container, go back to layout, to be 50%. 5099 is not needed. Okay, 50%. And this one, edit container, I'm going to force it to be 50. Okay, 50-50. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the background image off of this container, if I can get to said container, and edit it with the style and remove the image. And then I'm going to actually physically drop a image inside. I'm going to choose the image, this one. I don't remember which images were there. And then I'm going to drop another image in. So I'll go, oh, just duplicate it. That's easy to do. I will take the pencil and duplicate. And I'm going to change this image to the steel. There it is. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this image and I'm going to go to style and I'm going to go to max width percentage 50. Okay, great. And I'm going to do the same thing with this image. Go to style, max width 50. Okay, and the default of a container is to be in a column. So I need to go to this container, go to the layout, go to items, and force a row. Okay, not exactly what we got. So we're going to have to work on this a little bit. So let's go to style of one of these images and max width of 50%. And the height is going to be a squashed per pixel thing, and that's not what we want. So those containers are looking kind of good right now because we're having container image size problems. Because if I go, I'm playing right now because yep, that's what I thought. It's doing a lot of wackadoodle stuff. Is there a way to force an image to be, those containers are actually looking good right now. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to revert back to containers. So I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to remove. Sometimes you just have to add a little code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the image here and I'm going to remove this image here, and we're going to make it a background image because sometimes it just is going to have to be a certain way. All right, and then I'm going to come to this one, edit container, style, image, background, this one, insert, and sometimes you just have to make changes on what works and what doesn't work. All right, so let me go. And we've got space going on. Let future, All right, so what do we got? Something's not right. These are 3 columns and I wanted 2 columns. So do we need to create a container within a container? So let's go edit container and let's go to layout, and it's 50%. Let's make it 25. All right, and we're going to edit container and we're going to go to layout and we're going to make this one 25. Ooh, goodness gracious. That is not working. 25. Okay. And then this container, edit container, is 50. And we have a space between. That's great. I think this section is done. Excellent. So this is the ending of session number 2 in converting a site into containers. In the next session, we will convert the footer